Welcome back to another chilling episode of Into the Depths of Mystery. Today, I am sharing a real-life experience that took place deep in the Canadian wilderness, an encounter so strange, so unexplainable, that it still gives me chills every time I think about it. This isn't just a scary campfire tale. This happened to me. I've always found solace in the outdoors, hiking, camping, getting lost in the vastness of nature. Whenever life in the city becomes too loud, too chaotic, I retreat into the silence of the wild. The further I am from people, the freer I feel. I've hiked alone through dense forests, camped where no one else dared. It gives me peace. It resets me. In the summer of 2023, I planned the biggest road trip of my life, a 3-week expedition that would take me across the US and Canada, hopping between national and provincial parks, hiking by day and sleeping under the stars by night. This time, however, I wasn't alone. A good friend of mine decided to join me for a portion of the trip. He loved the outdoors too, though not quite as deep into the wild as I tend to go. The first week, we explored the US side. Beautiful hikes, scenic views, and campsites tucked under towering trees. But the real adventure began when we crossed back into Canada. There's something truly different about the Canadian wilderness. It's vast, endless, and wild in a way that feels untouched by civilization. The air smells richer, the trees seem older, time slows down. We had just entered a national park in northern Canada, far from any cities, deep in the boreal zone. We picked a remote campsite for the next 3 days. It was isolated, quiet, and surrounded by thick woods. We arrived just before sunset, cooked a simple meal on our stove, and called it a night. The plan for the next day was ambitious. A 35-kilometer hike through some of the most scenic trails in the region. We were excited, energized, ready. The trail we chose was a hidden gem. Not many people knew about it. It started about 20 minutes drive from our camp and wound through forests, cliffs, and untouched landscapes. We woke early the next morning, had a hearty breakfast, packed enough water and snacks, and set off. The drive to the trailhead was quiet. We didn't see a single car. When we got there, our vehicle was the only one in the parking area. The weather was ideal, cool, clear, and sunny. The air was crisp, the sky a deep blue. It was, as we thought, going to be a perfect day. The trail started off gently. Tall trees cast dappled shadows on the path. Birds chirped in the distance. We took our time, stopping often to take pictures and admire the view. Strangely, we didn't encounter a single other hiker, not one. That wasn't unusual for trails this remote, but it did add to the surreal calm of the place. We kept going, chatting and laughing, hours slipping by. Around midday, ahead of schedule, we decided to take a break. That's when everything began to change. We figured it was the perfect time to cook something. Using my jet boil, We prepared some instant noodles, but we didn't want to eat on the trail. Instead, we veered off, maybe 150 meters from the path, to find a better spot. After a few minutes of walking through the brush, we found it. A rocky, open area, flat, sunny, and peaceful. It felt like a hidden picnic spot that nature had designed just for us. We settled in, cooked our noodles, and sat back, enjoying the calm. That's when we heard it, the distant sound of rushing water, maybe a waterfall or a stream nearby. My friend perked up. "Wanna check it out?" I waved him off. "You go ahead. I'll relax here a bit longer." He disappeared into the trees in the direction of the sound. 5 minutes later, he was back. But something was wrong. He looked pale, wide-eyed. "You need to come with me," he said. "There's something you have to see." He wasn't joking. He looked shaken. I stood up, grabbed my water bottle, and followed him. We walked maybe 50 meters further into the woods. Then he stopped and pointed. "There." At first, I didn't see it, but then, between the trees, rising out of the forest floor, was a staircase. Just a staircase, about 13 or 14 feet tall, concrete, in a perfect condition, standing alone, no walls, no structure, no foundation, and no ruins around it, just stairs. Maybe it's part of an old lookout post, I guessed, but there were no signs of any building, nothing. Just dense woods all around, no trail markers, no paths. It made no sense, and yet there it was, solid and real. We decided to get a closer look, and that was a mistake. The moment we stepped toward it, everything changed. The wind picked up, fast, hard, and sudden. The bright sun faded, swallowed by thick clouds. The temperature dropped. The forest, which had been filled with chirping birds and rustling leaves, went silent, dead silent. My stomach turned. Something felt wrong, very wrong. We kept moving slowly towards the staircase, but the deeper we walked, the darker it got. It felt like the forest was rejecting us, warning us. My friend grabbed my arm and said, "Do you feel that? It's like we're not alone." I nodded. I couldn't explain it, but I felt it too, an overwhelming sense of dread, like something ancient and unseen had noticed us. Then we heard it, crack, something heavy, moving fast, branches snapping behind us. Something big was running toward us. Not walking, running. We didn't speak. We looked at each other's and started to run, back toward the rocky clearing. The wind roared in our ears. The sky turned pitch black, like a thunderstorm was minutes away. We could hear something chasing us. We grabbed what little we could from the clearing, left behind most of our gear, and bolted. The trail was nowhere in sight. We ran blindly, heart pounding, lungs burning. Suddenly, start seeing light. The sun started breaking through again. The wind died. It was as if we had crossed an invisible barrier. We stumbled back onto the main trail, panting and terrified. But we didn't stop running. We didn't speak until we were in the truck. Even then, we couldn't explain it. wind, the darkness, the feeling of being watched, the impossible staircase. It was sunny again, clear, like nothing had happened. But we knew, even as we drove away, the feeling lingered, like something unseen was following us, staying just beyond the trees. We felt it watching us. We drove back to camp, packed up everything in record time, and left. That night, we didn't camp. We found a hotel miles away and checked in, still shaken, even as we closed the blinds and turned on the TV to drown out our thoughts. We couldn't shake the feeling. Something from that forest had followed us. Since that day, I've done some research. Staircases in the woods aren't as rare as you might think. There are hundreds of reports from hikers and forest rangers across the world, strange stairs that lead nowhere, appearing in places where no structure ever existed. Some say they're remnants of old buildings. Others believe there's something else. Portals, traps, markers. I don't know what we found that day, but I know we weren't supposed to be there. And whatever it was, but it knew we were there. And that was our terrifying encounter in the remote Canadian wilderness, an experience that still sends chills down our spines. If you ever find yourself deep in the woods and stumble upon something that doesn't belong, trust your instincts and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you love hearing real-life scary encounters, unexplained mysteries, and spine-chilling adventures, there's plenty more waiting in the depths of mystery.